All right. Let's do this. Let's do this. Welcome everyone to the first ever episode of Parkour Science. And this video, as you can guess from the title, is going to be about off-axis flips. Because really to me they've always been like a mystery. I always had the urge to understand them, and now I did, and now I'm going to tell you. This video is going to be a scientific point of view. I'm just going to show you what kind of axes there are and how the flips look when someone twists around it. We're not going to do this verbally because it's really hard to describe the flips that we're going to talk about, but I set up this little guy, and yeah, his name is Jim. Jim has this adjustable axis here, which allows me to show basically back flip or front flip, or Jim can also just twist around his main axis. He can also twist around an axis which is here or here or here or wherever you want it. One very interesting one is the side flip, because I can almost hear you through the camera saying, well, that doesn't look like a side flip because Jim goes all the way over his head. And in a side flip, you usually go over your back. And that's true, and I was at the same point and I was wondering, well, is this actually a side flip, or should this be, is this something else? From that, the question emerged, how can you even tell which axis someone rotates around? So basically, the way we are going to do this, we determine one axis within Jim that we will call the axis of observation. And I've chosen the axis of observation to be here. I marked it with the blue and the red dot. I hope you can see that. So what we're going to look at is the orientation of that axis. We know that if the axis stays horizontally the whole time during the flip, then we're looking at a back flip or a front flip. So we can't tell the direction, but we can tell from the way I rotate whether it's forward or backwards. By looking at the orientation of this axis during a flip and comparing it to certain other flips, we can then tell whether two flips are actually the same or not. Because it's really not that easy, like with the side flip example, because the posture of the body plays a really important role. So I would argue that this is a side flip, and to show you guys, I recorded myself doing a side flip. Unfortunately I'll take off a little too much facing forward, so that kind of makes this change here in the axis of observation in the first couple of frames. But then you can really nicely see how the axis of observation is pointing downwards, and then horizontally parallel to the floor, and then downwards again, and then we'll come to stand here. One last thing, because it's really annoying to twist Jim with the hands, we're gonna make use of this guy here. Right, so for the first off-axis flip, we're gonna have a look at an axis which is in between a back flip and the twist. Let's have a look again, and I'll tell you what to focus on. So essentially, you're going over your side, and there's this key position. It's not aligned perfectly now, but the key position would be that this axis of orientation is actually pointing straight down when you're halfway through the flip. And this is also the position when your feet reach their maximum height, and this is to your left or to your right, so sideways of you. And then you're coming around again. I think the closest thing that we have in parkour, which resembles this trick, is a shant. And let's have a look at my really ugly shant. I avoided this shanty spread of legs on purpose, so don't get confused about that. I just did that so that my flip is somewhat more comparable to the thing Jim does. In this position, the axis basically should point perfectly down. Jim is also not perfectly aligned here, so Jim is a little bit over inverted, I'm a little bit under inverted, but generally speaking you can really tell that this is at least a similar flip, I would say. I think also it's really clear in the tutorial of Bob Rees. This axis is the favorite axis of Lisa Eckert. It also happens a lot when you have, for example, a B twist in or a macaco in and then you have a back out. It's also what happens when you have all these triggers doing their cork ins and they can't seem to get them around. And I kind of have to call this a conch shank now. For completeness, since we're looking at all the off-axis flips, there's obviously also this same thing forward. I'm just not going to put as much emphasis on the rotations that are front flips because I don't know, they're just ugly and way less common. Even though there's recently been a story of Alice and Kevin doing like a reverse to front shank, whatever you want to call it, which was really cool, and maybe I'll dig out that clip. I hope I can. Right, let's get into the next one. So the next one is a combination of a side flip to the left and a twist. Let's see what Jim does when I press the button. Okay. Okay, let's look at this again, and I'll again tell you the key points. Feet come up to the side. This is the key point where you're completely horizontal, so the axis of observation is perfectly horizontal, and your feet reach the maximum height in front of you, right? So from here on, they just going down and you end up in this position again. Yeah, to me, this is a B kick. Yeah, let's have a look at me and Jim doing it side by side first. I think this is fits really well. Funnily enough, since I got into free skiing during the preparation on this video, I think free skiers would call this a Cork 3. Obviously, we usually do a V kick to the side, whereas the free skiers do it to the front. But I think you can see really well that the feet kind of reach their maximum position when they are in front of the skier. Of course, you can start facing the way you want, so you can definitely do a B kick like a skier, so facing forwards and then also traveling forwards. Then, next up, so this is now a mixture between a side flip to the right and a twist. And let's have a look now. Beautiful. So let's have a look again. I think you kind of get the concept now. At half the flip, your axis of observation is again parallel to the floor, and this time your stomach is facing upwards. Then your feet reach the maximum height when they are behind you, and then you're coming back down again. This, I would argue, is a rise or a alien. Usually when we do raises or aliens, we kind of start facing to the front and then we end facing backwards. So we're kind of doing a twist in between. Yeah, let's have a look at me and Jim trying to do the same move, and I think it fits quite well. So I would argue that this is a alien or Zwirbler or raise or D-leg. It's basically all the same axis in my opinion. Now we have a cool one. You cannot only place the axis in between a flip and a twist, but you can also put the axis in between a backflip and a side flip. What happens then? Let's see. Yeah, very funny flip. Doesn't really have a name, I don't think. Let's have a look again. So you're basically going diagonally to the side, and then after half the flip, the axis of observation is completely parallel to the floor, and then you're coming back around again. It kind of looks like you have done a twist here, but there's absolutely no twist included in this flip, right? Really interesting. I tried it and we can have a look at this now, but yeah, for this one I don't get as sideways as I would like to. So the key position of the axis of observation is not really lining up perfectly, but I think you get the point. But there's a really beautiful example from Josh Malone. Yeah, almost looks like an unfull or an untwist. And obviously for completeness, this thing obviously also exists twisting to your front or flipping to your front. So next up we have the combination between a backflip, a side flip to the right, and a twist. Let's have a look. Yes, beautiful. All right, let's have a look again. Now, this is a little more complicated because we now include really 3 components. So, yeah, the axis of observation has more key points. So let's have a look. All right, after a third of the flip, your axis of observation should point to the front and being parallel to the floor. After half of the flip, I don't know whether you can see it, the feet reach their highest point diagonally behind you, and you're actually inverted more than horizontal. And this is literally just because there are 2 flip components, backflip and side flip, and only 1 twist component, right? And then after 2/3 of the flip, your axis of observation is pointing straight down, and then you're completing the whole thing. Really beautiful flip. I would call this a flat spin or a flat 3. I don't know how much this terminology is already arrived in parkour. I'm sure some of you will use it already, but in free skiing it's quite popular. Let's have a look at me and Jim trying a flat 3. Here it kind of lines up, so my axis of observation is actually quite horizontally, then I'm over inverted. Yeah, so from the axis point of view, this actually fits okay, but I think you can see from the takeoff that I'm missing a side flip here. I have to really pike my legs, and I think I kind of cheat as well by pulling my upper body forward. And yeah, in free skiing, this is really beautiful. Here you can really tell also the key points of the axis, right? So you're flat after the first third, perfectly parallel to the floor. Then you're kind of over inverted at this point, and then your axis points straight down to the floor after 2/3 of the flip, and then you're coming around again. Yeah, really beautiful. For completeness, right, we have the same shit forward, which is just a weird ass move, right? So I'll just leave that here, and if someone in 3 years invents this move, then tell them we've seen it here first. All right, now we're actually getting to the last one, which is now a combination of a backflip, a side flip to the left, and a twist. So to show that, we'll have to move the wire up here, and let's see what Jim does. Kind of a weird flip, doesn't really have a name as far as I'm aware. Let's have a look at what the axis of observation does. So after 1/3, the axis of observation is pointing straight down. Then after half the flip, you're inverted over horizontally. Your feet reach their maximum height diagonally in front of you. Yeah, you could obviously adjust this axis so you would be parallel to the floor at this angle, but I think it makes more sense to have really the same amount of backflip, side flip and twist here. Then you would reach a point where the axis of observation is pointing forward and being parallel to the floor, and then you would come around again. Let's have a look at me and Jim trying it side by side. I only managed to do it from a swing, but it really kind of worked, I feel like. Definitely pops up in other movements like this weird thing. So yeah, let's get into twisting. You can obviously understand twisting by adding twists to these keyframes that I talked about. but it kind of gets all mixed up. It's really hard to distinguish. I think I found a really cool way to think about it. Unfortunately, we have to detach Jim to show you. So we're in a different scenario now. Jim is now taking this drop. We're going to go through the same flips that I've shown before, but we're going to do it in a different order. And we'll start with the frisbee. Quick reminder, a frisbee with a drop would look somewhat like this, right? Where your axis is horizontally here and then it gets back around again. Yeah, I want to put emphasis on the fact that the feet will reach their maximum height when they are in front. So if you twist this move, then it will look something like this. So in skiing, this is actually called Cork 7, which kind of makes sense because, as I said in the beginning, the frisbee kind of thing is actually a Cork 3. So if we add a twist to that, we should get something similar to a B twist. And even though we're unfamiliar with the takeoff here, obviously, you can still see the B twist in this flip. The second one that we're gonna look at is now the mixture between a backflip, a side flip to the left, and a twist. Quick reminder, it looked like this, where this is the first key position, then you're coming around to this position, and then you're landing. And when you're doing the same thing with a twist, then it's going to look somewhat like this. So feet reach their maximum position here, diagonally in front of you, and then you're coming around. Next one is a shant, where without a twist it kind of looks like this, right? Where you are in this position and then you come around again. And with a twist, that would then just look like this. I think if you would do that off one leg, it would kind of resemble a parkour Cork. But I really wanted to put emphasis on the fact that the feet reach their maximum height when they are on the side. First one for the frisbee, maximum position when they are in front, then here, and here, and you can guess what's coming next, right? It's this flat spin thing with a twist, where essentially without a twist it kind of looks like this. And then you're here, and then you're here. And with a twist, and then the third one. Yeah, and then we have the last one, which is this race kind of thing, where without a twist it kind of looks like this, where you're horizontally here, and then you come around, and with a twist it kind of looks like this. Feet reach their maximum position when they're behind, and then you would come around like this. So basically, what we found is the feet reach their maximum position from the front at a frisbee, somewhere here, then between a backflip and a twist, coming here, and then for this race kind of thing, the feet are at their maximum position behind of you. Alright, yeah, for completeness, right, so the backflips with a twist all live here, depending on the axis, either here or here. The front flips are similar, they just live here, depending on the axis. And now we have them all, right? We got them all, right? Where the fuck does Cork 0 hide then? Where does the Cork 0 live? I think the best way to understand this from the skier's perspective. So, as I told you, the skier would call this a Cork 7. The skier would call this a Cork 3. And now you can kind of understand where the Cork 0 lives, because now, to reduce this 360s to 0, you have to twist, but you have to twist in the direction that the frisbee is not suggesting, right? Because remember, a frisbee is a mixture between a side flip and a twist, and then you basically unfold this move to get a Cork 0. So what you essentially do is, you're jumping, you're getting here, but then you unfold, right? So this is your key position, parallel to the floor, and then you would get around here. Same start, counter twisting to the right in this case, and then coming right. And you can do that with any off-axis trick that has a twist component. So you could basically do a shan't unfold, you could do a flat unfold, or then you would have like a shan't 0 or a flat 0, or you could have a race 0. There's no issue with that. It's a really cool move. I would love to see it. Tag me if you land it. Yeah, here is my Cork 0. It's way more inverted than I would like to be. It still has some kind of a Cork 0-ish look. And yeah, if you think about it like this, then nothing would stop you from doing a Cork -3. So you would do a frisbee and then you would do a double unfold. And I've tried this on the tramp and it really has a distinct shape. Yeah, again, I'm way more inverted than I would like to be. Go ahead, try it. Let me know if you land it. It looks really cool. And I think this concludes this video. Alright, thanks for watching. It's very likely that there won't be an upload in a long time. But I actually have some more ideas on PK science, so maybe there will be an episode 2. Alright.